The latest housing numbers are out, and if you are thinking about buying or selling a home in the Tampa Bay or Sarasota areas, then stay tuned because this is information you're going to need. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Josh Bryan, and I'm your local real estate expert. So if you're thinking about making a move in the Tampa Bay or Sarasota area, just reach out. My contact information is in the description below. All right, so as you can see, I'm traveling. So I'm in the hotel room right now, but the latest housing numbers just came out. So I'm going to share my screen and dive on in to those. All right, so let's start off. Actually, let's go over. Uh, let's just start here. Hillsborough County. So as you can see here, single family homes only. And if you're not familiar with the counties, Hillsborough County is where Tampa is. You can see here closed sales July 2025 were down 7.6% year over year, 1,341 closed sales in the month of July. 263 of those were in cash. That was down 7% year over year. Median sales price, though, was flat. $430,000 is the same as it was last year. The average sales price fell just a little bit, $543,192. The median percent to list price was 96.4%. What that means is sellers achieved 96.4% of their original list price. That was down 1.1% year over year. Took 34 days was the median time to go under contract. That's up almost 42% year over year, but still a little over a month, getting back to normal. Median time to actually close the sale was 76 days. That was up 15.2% year over year. As you can see here, a new pending sales of 1,341 in July. That's down 4.4%. So less homes are going under contract compared to last year. But at the same time, fewer new homes hitting the market. 1,713 new homes hit the market in July. That's down 6.5% year over year. Pending inventory, 1,685 homes went pending in July. That's down 7% year over year. And your total active listings in Hillsborough County for July was 5,095. That's up almost 19% year over year, but it's 4.2 months of inventory. So this is a balanced market, neutral market. That 4 to 5 months, 4 to 6, depending on who you talk to, is a balanced market, even though it's up 23.5% year over year. All right, so now we're going to dive deep into each county here. So this is going to be a little bit longer video. But here you can see month over month. So closed sales were down month over month. And you can kind of see the trend. June, depending on the year, March or June is usually the number one month for most closed sales. As you can see here, it kind of cycles. So that's typical. That would be down month over month. Here's your cash sales. Once again, those were down a month over month. And then your total, your cash sales as a percentage, 19.6% of all closed sales in July were cash. That was slightly up on a percentage basis from June. And here's your median sales price. So like I said before, 430,000 was flat year over year. It's down slightly from June and the same as it was in May. So if you zoom out, you can kind of see, we peaked 2022, 2023, depending on, and it's just been pretty much flat since then. So you're always going to get those month to month swings, but I like to look back and just kind of see the trend, and it's pretty flat. Average sales price down a month over month. And you can see there's a little bit more fluctuation, but overall it's still pretty flat. Dollar volume, but that doesn't really affect many people. And then here's your percent to list price. So 96.4% was down year over year and down from June as well. But once again, look at it over the time period and it's pretty flat. Median time to contract, that 34 days was up from June as well as up from year over year. Same thing with median time to sell, up from June. So it's just taking a little bit longer to get homes under contract and to close them. So, and then here's your new pending sales. Actually was up month over month. We had 20 more homes go pending in July than we did in June. And new listings, same thing. More listings hit the market in July than they did in June. And then here is the total active listings. It actually fell. What is it, 95 fewer homes on the market in July than there were in June. So overall, the month supply stayed the same at 4.2. So you can kind of see over the last year how it's creeped up some, and now it's kind of gotten 4.2 for the last 3 months. So starting to balance out. And you can see that here in the chart. You can see how low it got back in 2021, below 1 month inventory, and then it's just coming back up to normal. And then now we can break it down by sales price. So the most sales were in that $400,000 to $600,000 price point, followed by the $300,000 to $400,000 price point. And now you can see where like how fast homes are going under contract. So that same 400 to 600,000 was taking the longest, even though it's the most, sales in that price point. It took 40 days to go under contract on median time. And then the new listings, the most new listings came out, same price point, 400 to 600,000. Then here's your current inventory, total inventory. Once again, no surprise at 400 to $600,000 is where most of the homes are. And then here's your distressed market for Hillsborough County. So there were two foreclosure sales that was actually down 60% year over year, and there were no short sales. All right, so let's head over. Let's go north to Pasco County. This is where places like Wesley Chapel, Land Lakes, Newport Richey, stuff like that. So you see here, closed sales 928 in the month of July, down slightly, almost 1% from last year. 196 of those were in cash. That was down 7.5% year over year. Median sales price down at 2.3% year over year at $387,000. The average sales price down 2% year over year at $427,514. So the median percent to list price, 96.6%, was the same as it was last year. And it's taken slightly longer to go under contract at 39 days compared to 34 days last year and 80 days to close the sale versus 78 last year. So new pending sales actually went up a little bit. It went up a whopping 3 to 849 from last year. New listings, 1,145 new homes hit the market in July. That's down 1.2% year over year. Pending inventory, 1,083. That's total pending inventory. And that's down 5.2% year over year. And then the total active listings, 3,383 homes that were for sale in July in Pasco County, up almost 19% year over year. But once again, month supply, we're at 4 months. So we're getting right on that balanced neutral market. All right, so now we can kind of look at month over month stats. You got the closed sales here, they're down month over month, which once again, typical. You got that just like Hillsborough County, you get the same trends, and then you hit summer and it starts coming back down. So the cash sales, 196, down month over month. And then as a percentage, 21.1% of all closed sales in July were cash, and that's slightly down from June's number. And here's the median sales price. So the $387,000, while down from last year, was up slightly from June. And if you look out, once again, it's pretty flat across the board. Getting back to that, dare I say normal? Just it's obviously this is slightly below, normal appreciation because it's down year over year, but it's not like it's fallen off the cliff. And you can even go back to like when the highs were. It's not that different. Average sales price was slightly up month over month. 427,514 was up from the 426,231 in June. skip the dollar volume. Here is the percent to list price. 96.6% was slightly up from June and the same as July of last year. And once again, look out over the years, it's been pretty flat. So 39 days to go to contract was the same as it was in June, May, and April. So the market in Pasco County, in my opinion, has pretty much stabilized. And then 80 days to actually close the sale, which is 1 day less than it was in June. And then here are your new pending sales. So 849 homes went pending in July, which was down from June. And then less homes or fewer homes came on the market, 1,145. It was about 41 fewer homes than in June. Total active listings, 3,383. That was up about, what's that? Roughly 60 homes, 59 homes. So the month supply overall is still at that 4 months. So you can see it's slowly going up, and the last 2 months it's kind of stabilized. And now we're here to go by sales price. Once again, that $400,000 to $600,000 sales price is where most of the closed sales happened in July. So let's look at that same price point. It's taking 39 days to go under contract in that price point. And then here are the new listings by initial price point. Once again, no surprise here that $400,000 to $600,000 price point is where most of the new homes came on the market. And then total inventory by price point, same thing. Most homes are in that $400,000 to $600,000 price point. And then here's your distress market for Pasco County. You can see here there were 5 closed sales that were foreclosures or bank-owned properties. That's up 67%, and it's 2 more than last year. But the short sales are 2 less, down 67%. All right, let's head southwest over to Pinellas County. This is where places like Clearwater, St. Petersburg, you have all your Tampa Bay beaches over here. So closed sales are actually up year over year, 907 closed sales in the month of July, up 4.4% year over year. 325 of those were in cash. That's up almost 15% year over year. But the median sales price fell. $435,000 is down 8.4% year over year. And the average sales price of $578,209 is down almost 10% year over year. 93.3% of original list price was achieved. That's down 2.4% year over year. And it was taken 42 days to go under contract, up almost 45% year over year, and 77 days to close the sale, which is up 15% year over year. New pending sales of 896, that's up almost 7% year over year. New listings of 1,157, up 2% year over year. And the total pending inventory, 1,046, that's up 7.4% year over year. And here is your total active listings of 3,996. That's up almost 28%. And we are at 4.8 months, which is solid neutral territory there. And that's up 26% year over year. All right, so let's look at month over month. Once again, closed sales fell from June, which is typical. Cash sales, though, went up slightly from June. And like I said before, that 35.8% of all sales were cash. That's up from 34% in June. Median sales price, $435,000, down from June as well. As you can kind of see here, it's, crested and then it's kind of flattening off. Average sales price down from June as well. 578,209, down from that 597, 553 in June. Skip the dollar volume. Percent to list price fell from June as well. 93.3% compared to 94.2% in June. And then medium time to contract took 6 days longer in July to go under contract than it did in June. And median time to sell up 6 days as well, month over month. So new pending sales down as well, month over month, 896 compared to 947. New listings, that's actually down month over month as well, 1,157, down from 1,169 in June. And then here, total active listings fell from June. So fewer homes on the market. So if you see here, the month supply fell from 4.9 to 4.8 months. Now we can break it down by price point. No surprise, once again, that $400,000 to $600,000 price point in Pinellas County had the most closed sales, and it was taken 36 days to go under contract in that price point. Here are the new listings. Once again, the most new listings that hit the market in July were in that $400,000 to $600,000 price point, and the most current active listings are in that price point as well by a wide margin. And then here are your distress. So foreclosure sales were down. You only had one of those, but there were three short sales. All right, so let's go south to Manatee County. This is where places like Parrish, Palmetto, Bradenton. 624 closed sales in July, down 9% year over year. 184 of those were in cash. That was down 15%. Median sales price of 489,900 was down 1.8% year over year. And the average sales price of 631,195 down 4.5% year over year. 93.7% of a list price was achieved. That was down 2.2% year over year. It's taken 58 days to go under contract, up 11.5% year over year, and 102 days to close the sale. That's up 2%. New pending sales up 9.5% year over year. And new listings at 749 actually down 2.9% year over year. And the pending inventory 892 up 1.7% year over year. Total active listings of 2,959 up almost 19%. And that puts us at 4.8 months of inventory, which once again is a neutral market. So here we go over month. Once again, closed sales fell from June, which is typical. Cash sales also fell month over month, 184 compared to 204 in June. And 29.5% of all sales in July were cash. That was slightly up as a percentage over June. Here's the median sales price. You can see while it was down 1.8% year over year, it was up another almost $50,000 from June. Average sales price up from June as well, while being down year over year. Skip the dollar volume. Percent of list price at 93.7% was down from the 94.3% achieved in June. And median time to contract, 58 days. So it took 2 days longer to go under contract than it did in June. And it actually took less time to sell, though, 102 days. Usually when it's this high, like a biggest discrepancy between almost double, not quite double, but 50 days difference, is usually this is new construction and the homes probably weren't ready. And there's a lot of new construction in Manatee County right now. So that would explain the big gap there. New pending sales, those were actually up month over month as well as year over year. So more homes went under contract in July, which is a good thing. And fewer homes hit the market compared to June. So here's your total active listings. Once again, that fell. Um, what is that? 200 and roughly 240 less homes on the market in July compared to June. So the month supply actually fell. It fell from 5.2 months down to 4.8 months. So you can see here, the months of supply, it kind of peaked at in March and it stayed at 5.2 until it came back down in July. So it'll be interesting to see if August, if it continues to fall. So here's closed sales by sales price. Once again, 400 to $600,000 is where most of the sales are happening in July. And it was taking 69 days to go under contract for that price point. New listings by price point, once again, 400 to 600,000, where our most of the new homes are hitting the market. And then total inventory by price point, once again, 400 to $600,000 leading the way there. And then your distressed market, there was one foreclosure sale, which was the same as last year, and short sales fell from 3 down to 1. All right, let's head further south to Sarasota County. So you had 723 closed sales in July, up almost 13% year over year. 273 of those were in cash, up almost 15% year over year. Median sales price of $470,000 was flat compared to last year. And the average sales price up almost 1%, $684,858. 91% of the list price was achieved. That was down 2.3% year over year. And it took 63 days to go into contract, up from 52 days last year, and 105 days to close, up from 94 last year. 679 new pending sales in the month of July, up a little over 11%. 720 new homes hit the market in July. That's down almost 10%. So more homes going under contract, less inventory coming on the market. Total pending inventory of 833 was up 3.5% from a year ago. And total active listings of 3,574, up almost 17% year over year. And that puts Sarasota County at 5.6 months, which is neutral, getting closer to the buyer's market from an inventory standpoint. Closed sales. First time this has happened. More closed sales in July compared to June. Cash sales, 273. That was up from June as well. And 37.8% of all closed sales in July were cash. That's up 2% from June. Here's your median sales price of $470,000. While flat compared to last year, it's up compared to June. And then the average sales price actually fell, though, compared to June. Skip the dollar volume. And then here's your percent to list price. It fell month over month from 92.2% down to 91%. And took 3 days longer compared to June. 63 days to go into contract and 105 to close. So 6 days longer there. New pending sales had 20 more homes in July going to contract than in June. And less homes hit the market. So 720 new homes hit the market in July compared to 805 in June. So total active listings actually fell. Just 380 less homes for sale in July compared to June. So month supply fell from 6.3 months, which was a buyer's market, to 5.6 months, which is a neutral market. And let's break it down by price point. Shocker, $400,000 to $600,000 had the most closed sales. And then it took 62 days to go into contract in that price point. And then new listings, same, once again, $400,000 to $600,000 had the most new listings, closely followed by that $300,000 to $400,000 price point. And then here is the current inventory by price point. Once again, 400 600,000 is where most of the homes are. And then here is the distressed market. So two foreclosure sales in July, down from four last year, and then one short sale. So I know there's a lot of data. I know it's boring. I don't know how to make it entertaining. It's numbers. I know a lot of people like numbers, but I don't know a way to make it entertaining. So if you have any suggestions, comment below how I can make these numbers entertaining. But I hope these helped, gave you some valuable information if you're thinking about buying or selling. If you are, I'd love to help you. Reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text, whatever's easier for you. All of my contact information is in the description below. But until next video, take care.